Are you ready to absolutely crush 2026? Last year, I did a video on this for all you that were watching on YouTube, and there were 204 comments of people that wanted the plan that I talked about in 2025, and 219 of you that got that plan ended up selling for free because I broke down how to completely blow up your real estate business. So if you're going to watch this is the first video of 2026 here on the platform. I'm going to do 12 videos this first quarter that will help you build a foundation in real estate where you'll make $500,000 a year off of simply applying these principles. How do I know that you can do this? Because I did this. If you go back and look at my career in sales, I was a religious professor. I got into door-to-door sales, was the top 1% nationwide. Got into real estate, sold 75 homes my first year as a realtor, and now I teach realtors nationwide and all over Canada how to apply the exact same principles that are helping them blow up their business. And so today, I'm going to break that down as the first video of 2026. There are 7 principles that if you can apply these principles right here, you'll absolutely blow up your business. Now, if you're at a brokerage or in a coaching group and you're not getting this type of training, don't worry. All these little bells all over the video today are free packets, free offerings that I can give you, because when you really master these 7 principles, your business completely takes off. My job is to literally just be a vessel of information, put this in front of you. And so if you take notes and you apply what's being taught, your business will completely take off. I guarantee that. So if you haven't met me, it's good to meet you. Welcome to this channel. Right now for the first quarter, we're doing a very different style of YouTube video where I am using the whiteboard that I use to train all the agents that I work with one-on-one in the coaching platform that I run, as well as the brokerage team here at Real Broker. I train on the whiteboard because it's a lot easier visually for you as you watch and pause the video, etc. As we do that today, remember the entire goal is to give you free content, a free layout, so you can absolutely blow up your business. If you are making $100,000 to $150,000 per quarter as a realtor, then you're doing the business the way it's supposed to be done. If you're not at that point, there's probably one of these 7 principles that you're missing. Your business isn't thriving because you haven't fully gotten behind one of these principles that we'll talk about today. Now, before we jump into this, I run free consultations all the time. Last year in 2025, I did over 500 free consultations for realtors just like you. And literally they're a 15-minute Zoom call for me to help you as much as I can. And I'll break down your business, find your leaky buckets so that you can explode. If you're in that position, there's 0 commitments. We'll hop on a Zoom call and I can talk to you about this. Comment down below, consultation, and shoot me a DM on Instagram or a text at 702-525-5766. And I'll reach out to you so we can have a free consultation. Also, before we jump into this, I run a free 30-minute live training just like this to realtors worldwide every Tuesday for 30 minutes. If you want to be on that call, it's completely free on Zoom. Comment free worldwide training down below and then shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll get you the link. I train on how realtors are putting deals under contract and then how you can replicate it in 72 hours. And I even Venmo $100 to the realtor that does it first before our next call. So if you want to be on that, these are 2 simple ways that I can provide value to you and help your business grow. So let's jump into this. So as we do these calls the first quarter, I just really want to help you grow your business. My goal is to lower the failure rate in the real estate industry. When I first got into real estate, I recognized pretty quick that there wasn't a lot of training. I had to go hunt down mentors and coaches and environments to help blow up my first year. I did that in door-to-door sales as well, but the training was heavier, more available, and more accessible in door-to-door sales, which is why I did so well. But then I got into real estate and it wasn't there. So now, as I run Davis Sales Training, which is worldwide, my goal is to provide and make available the most simplistic form of training so you can grow your business. And these are a few of all the realtors that I've helped over the last 2 years. Sahil completely blew up in Canada. Daniel was part-time. Now he's full-time, completely thriving off of social media. Rachel's in California. She completely blew up her first year, selling almost 20 to 30 million in volume as a first-year realtor. William in Indiana sold 57 homes his first year. He almost caught me, but ended up celebrating and taking off with his family, which kudos to him. But he sold 57 homes his first year. Jeffrey doubled his business in Atlanta. I literally would show him where to knock, and then he would go and get 2 or 3 listings and put buyers under contract. Leonard's been with me for 3 years, having his best years ever this 3rd and 4th year. Jess has put 4 or 5 deals under contract after being stagnant for a while. She's in St. George, Utah. Brandon had sold 1 deal. Then he sold 10 deals the next 10 years after working with me. Israel made $100K in 90 days in Arizona, the first 90 days working with me. Tina is a realtor out in Ventura, California, now for the first time having multiple deals under contract after working with me. And Billy tried multiple programs, got into multiple coaching groups, and could not figure out how to leave from part-time to full-time. He was a firefighter, one of the most genuine people you ever know. And now he's one of the top 3 realtors in all of Alabama, completely crushing it. So the principles work as you take notes and as you get all the free stuff I give out today. Make sure you're looking for, how do I master these 7 principles? And as you do that, your business will blow up. Okay, let's jump into this. So if you haven't watched my videos before, you'll want to grab a notebook because you're going to take a ton of notes. That's the whole goal, is to put the information in front of you, have you take notes, and then go and apply as much as you can. So grab a notebook, grab a pen, and let's jump into this. Okay, the first principle that you got to really get good at is understanding how businesses scale over time. You don't want to create something that works against you. So one of the best books I can recommend, there's a couple here, is Benjamin Hardy's The Science of Scaling. And he talks about how the pattern is always the same. With businesses as they grow, it's the same thing that I see with realtors. There's 3 things that you got to get good at. You got to set a goal that redefines the game. Then you got to create a powerful emotional response behind it. You have to have a why. If I tell you to go run through a burning building, you probably wouldn't. But if your family's up there and the fire department's not going to make it in time, then boom, right through that building. So you have to have an emotional reason behind the goal that you create. And then you have to set a deadline. Otherwise, you're going to fall to the luxury of procrastination. And that is the science of scaling. And so what you do is you learn how businesses grow. Go learn how Steve Jobs built Apple, how Jeff Bezos built Amazon, how Phil Knight grew Nike. And as you learn how they grew their business, you as a realtor will grow as well. Too often, like Elon Musk says right here, realtors or entrepreneurs are optimizing things that should not exist. I see that all the time with real estate agents. Your business is too complex. You're doing too many things that aren't giving you a return. And so the more you figure out what to optimize as a realtor, the more your business will grow. So this year, focus on things that actually give you a return that help you scale. You don't want to do 4 or 5 homes a year. We want you to do 40 to 50 homes a year on repeat. If you want to be in a group that trains on this, like I had mentioned earlier, I run a free call for realtors, 30 minutes every Tuesday. And I train on how realtors are putting deals under contract. There's no fluff. It's 30 minutes. We're pretty quick. And then the goal is to get you to replicate it in 72 hours. And I give out a $100 cash bonus for the realtor that does it first. If you want to be on there and you're watching this, comment Tuesday, worldwide free training. Anytime you guys see a little bell right there, that means that there's something free that I can offer. The second thing that I can offer you on this call is I have a free book club. There's no calls, there's no meetings, we don't talk about the book, but this will give you an outline to develop the right skill set this year to help scale your business. So if you want this and you don't have it already, comment 2026 book club like it says right here, and then shoot me a text on DM or a DM on Instagram and I'll get this out to you. Okay, so that's the first principle. Focus on learning how businesses scale. Do the same thing in your business and you'll take off. The second principle is you have to get really good at attention. There's a famous quote by Tony Robbins where he says, where attention goes, energy flows. And so if you don't know where you're going, you're certain to end up somewhere else. So you have to get really good at setting the right goal, having the right systems to make sure you get there. If you don't have a clear goal, then like it says right here, you'll end somewhere else. This is one of my favorite quotes from Zig Ziglar. He says, the fact is that you can't hit a target that you can't see. If you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else. And so what I tell realtors all the time is go get, if you don't have this calendar, go get Jesse Itzler's big ass calendar. It has the whole year outlined on your wall or in a big journal, and get so specific this year on what you're going to hit, when you're going to hit it, how you're going to hit it, and why you're going to hit it. Answer those questions and your business will blow up. Brian Tracy has a quote right here. He says, any goal can be achieved if you break it down enough into simple and small enough parts. So just like it says right here, you need to know the goal. You need to know the why. You need to know the time frame. And then how are you going to hit it? So this year, be more cautious this first quarter about building the right plan with the right targets, and you'll increase the likelihood that you actually hit your goal this year. Okay? I've built one every year. This is probably my 4th edition now, a business planning packet. And I build it for you as a realtor so that you can go and do exactly that. Build out your business plan so you have a target that you can hit. This is a 50-page ebook, completely free for you and the rest of the industry. If you want this, comment business planning workbook and shoot me a DM on Instagram. This will help you build that target so that your attention is on the right things. That's the second principle you have to get really good at. The third principle is this first quarter, ideally right now in January, you need to do an audit. As a realtor, you have to have a bird's eye view on your business. Just like sports teams at halftime, they'll sit there and analyze all the data, pivot, and make changes for the second half. If you're a sports fan, do you remember the Super Bowl that Tom Brady was in when they played the Atlanta Falcons? Remember them being down 28-3? They made pivots and adjustments, and they ended up winning that Super Bowl. It's the same thing as a realtor. As often as you can. I train realtors to do this quarterly, then monthly, and weekly. You have to sit down and audit your business. There's 3 things that you're going to audit constantly this year. You always have to be aware of you. You are the greatest asset to your business. There's nothing more important than how you are doing as a human individual. The second thing is your business. You have to constantly be aware. As an independent contractor, without being a W-2, there is no boss that's watching you. If you don't work, you're out of the industry. And so just like businesses operate, you have to go have outside counsel come in and give you an audit on your business. If you've read the book CEO Excellence by the McKinsey Institute, they talk about this. They would go and hire outside counsel, companies that were on the Fortune 500 list, and that counsel would come in and give them frequent audits. They're called feedback loops. You need often feedback loops on your business. So you have to report that. So you have to audit your business. The third thing is your schedule. Nothing happens as a realtor unless it's on your schedule. Those that have the most dialed in schedule and are following it are the ones that are most likely to hit their goals. So there's 3 times that you can audit these like crazy and give yourself often feedback loops. It's your weekly planning, which is every Sunday morning, your nightly planning where you audit the day, and your morning planning where you forecast and visualize what's going to happen. If you're not doing these 3 things and you need help, I've got a free packet on all 3 of these. Just comment down below right now as you watch this, emotional regulation, plus which of the workbooks you want. Then shoot me a DM on Instagram and I'll get this out to you. I guarantee you, just like all these people that I taught, once we fixed the audits, the feedback loops in their business, and we caught things so it wasn't repeated for months at a time, but we caught it and we fixed it over a 24-hour span, then their business really took off. That's the whole goal with yours as well, is to have frequent feedback loops. So this year, do not make the same mistake weeks and weeks and months in a row. Try to catch it in the moment. The 4th principle is, can you eliminate distractions? Real estate industry has literally come down to who can identify and eliminate distractions. One of the best explanations on this is from Alex Hormozy. If you've read any of his books, He talks about how your number one job this year is to go from obscurity to awareness. For 4 hours a day, you need to tell the world that you're a realtor and that you exist. If you don't do that, you'll be out of the business. So what's the one thing that is going to get in your way? It's distractions. Can you identify and eliminate distractions? Alex Ramosi has this famous quote, which I love. He says, "My father used to tell me, a focused fool can accomplish more than a distracted genius." So your most valuable asset isn't your time, it's your attention. A man with time and distractions will always lose to a man with a deadline and a singular focus. It's never been easier to be successful than it is today. It's just also always been easier to be distracted. So real estate has literally become a game of who can be focused the longest. So this year, identify your distractions and get rid of them. If you don't know what your schedule should look like to be a top producer, to scale your business, to eliminate distractions, then I've got a free packet on this. This workbook right here was one of the most requested workbooks that I offered in 2025. Do not run your business without it. If you want it, comment top producer schedule down below. I'll make sure I get this out to you. So that's principle number 4, distractions. The next principle is you cannot outperform or out-strategize a bad state. Your emotional state will help you show up more consistently this year. If in the past your real estate business has been completely just flooded with emotions and you responding to life and you're consistent for a little bit and then you're off, it's because your emotional baseline isn't controlled. If you look at it, you should go to AI on Instagram and print off one of these pictures. You should have a baseline state, an off state, and a peak state. Because as individuals, like James Clear talks about, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the standard of our systems. So if your systems, if your morning routine, night routine, weekly planning are in place, then you're basically leaving your business up to chance, which no one wants that to be the case. There's a great quote from Tony Robbins and Doug Cartwright. And he says, Doug Cartwright says, you don't have a sales problem, you have a personal problem affecting your sales performance. And that's so true in the real estate industry. Most of you watching this are so good at real estate. Have conversations, go on appointments, close deals. It's pretty simple, but your head, your mind gets in the way, and so you don't do that. And so if we address that a lot this year, you'll be just fine. Tony Robbins also has a quote, and he says the difference between peak performance and poor performance is not intelligence or ability. Most often it's the state that your mind and body is in. And how true is that? Casey Baugh, a mentor of mine, quotes a book, Clayton M. Christensen, How Will You Measure Life? And it's one of my favorite quotes of Casey's. And he says, the biggest driver to performance and behavior is our personal view of our identity, who we think we are. It's very hard for us to act in contrast to the identity we give ourselves. So what identities do you need this year in 2026 to scale your business? Just like all the people that I've helped. For example, Billy, when he was transferring from part-time firefighter to full-time realtor, and now one of the top 3 in Alabama, what was the big thing that helped him? It was identity. He had to shape or reshape the identity that he had for himself, that he was no longer part-time firefighter Billy. He was full-time prospecting realtor, top 3 in the state of Alabama, realtor. He had to shift that identity. And same thing for everybody else I've coached. So what are the 4 identities you're chasing this year? 1, you're a hunter. Do not wait for business. Go hunt. Take pride in putting food on your table. Like Grant Cardone says, success is your duty. It's your moral obligation to you and your family. The second one is you have an identity that you prospect. If you want to blow up your business this year, if you want to scale, again, like Alex Ramosi said, no one knows who you are. You have to go put yourself in front of people. So Fanatical Prospecting is a great book that will help you develop that identity. The third thing is extreme ownership. You have to be somebody that takes ownership. If your business group blows up, you're welcome. That's your job. That's because of you. Pat yourself on the back. If it doesn't, it's also your fault. If you don't have people under contract right now, that's your fault. You need to take ownership in that. The last one is understand you are a person that builds momentum. Your identity is of somebody that is okay, that it takes a while to compound over time. Just like a merry-go-round. When you go push that as a kid, it took a lot of effort to push. But then after you pushed it, it was so easy. Same thing with a rocket ship. When a rocket ship goes up in the air, it lets go or uses 90% of its fuel just to get off the ground. Same thing. You have to have this identity that you do the right things and you're okay that it compounds over time, because that's how you scale a business. Okay? Again, if you need any of these packets to help you with your emotional regulation this year, then comment one of these packets, morning routine, nightly planning, weekly planning, whichever one you want, down in the comments, and then find me on Instagram and shoot me a DM. And I'll make sure I get that to you. Okay, that's principle 5. So we've talked about the science of scaling, attention, auditing your business often this year, identifying the distractions, getting rid of them, having a higher quality state of being. And the last 2 will completely change your business. The 5th one is strategy. So strategy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 6th one. Okay, the 6th one is strategy. So the better game plan always wins. And this is what we'll talk about on the next episode for this quarter, is we're going to talk about how to build a strategy to make sure you execute. But I want to give you a brief overview really quick. So essentially, when we look at real estate, 71% back in 2024 didn't sell a single home. The issue is that it's too confusing. There's too much confusion in the real estate industry, and that's why realtors don't grow. Just like Elon Musk says, the majority of entrepreneurs and businesses are mirrored in complexity and lying to themselves about what's going on. They're optimizing things that should not exist, right? So what happens is the better game plan, the more simplistic game plan wins. So how do you solve this? As a realtor, when we talk about strategy, you have to look at it like you're a fisherman in a boat and your line's in the water. Well, if the fish are over here, why would you not put your line over here where the fish are, right? Well, what happens is we put our line in the water where the fish are not, and we get frustrated that we're not converting business. So, like I had mentioned earlier, if you want a free workbook on this of how to build your business plan to make sure that you hit your target this year, then comment business planning workbook down below. Find me on Instagram, and after you had commented, shoot me a DM. I'll give you this 50-page workbook completely for free. All right, let's keep going on strategy. So if you look at Alex Ramosi and how he talks about this, he says most businesses die from obscurity, not bad products, right? So you're not a bad realtor, just no one knows who you are. So you have to dedicate 4 hours a day to making sure that you fix this. There's 4 ways to do that. He calls it the core 4: warm outreach, cold outreach, post free content, and run paid ads. Again, on my Tuesday free calls that I run that are 30 minutes for realtors worldwide, we train on this. I train on how realtors are doing this, how to replicate it in the next 72 hours. So if you want to get on those calls, they're completely free. They're every Tuesday. Comment Tuesday, worldwide free training, and shoot me a DM on Instagram, and I'll make sure I get you in that group. Okay, so your strategy, there's 4 things that you should do this year. Prospect and go on qualified appointments. Get better. Follow up with your leads. And take care of yourself and your values. So your strategy should essentially look like this. You have a yearly calendar. You have your daily schedule. Now, there's a great book called The 5 Types of Wealth. And Sahil Bloom talks about this, how there's 5 different areas that you need to categorize and put into your schedule. So go get my workbook that's free and go through that and build that into your schedule. Right now, we're going to just talk about the prospecting piece of your business plan. So your prospecting piece, just like it goes through in this workbook, you should have your vision board, your business plan, all broken down, even to your systems that you're following every week to make sure you hit it. And then your calendar should look like this. If you walk through the workbook and you watch this episode and you follow along this first quarter and you have all that dialed in, I guarantee that you'll hit your goal. It's kind of like the study that Harvard did back in 1979. The graduates of the MBA program at Harvard were asked, have you set clear goals, written goals for the future, and made plans to accomplish them? Only 3% of the graduates had written goals and plans. 13% had goals, but they were not in writing. 84% had no specific goals at all, aside from graduating and enjoying the summer. 10 years later, 1989, the researchers interviewed the members of the class again. They found that the 13% who had goals that were not in writing were earning on average twice as much as the 84% who had no goals. They found that the 3% who had clear written goals when they left Harvard were earning on average 10 times as much as the other 97% of graduates. The only difference is they had written down goals. So your job is to go and build out a business plan just like this. And again, if you want this, It's completely free. Just comment business planning workbook in the comments on this YouTube video and then shoot me a DM on Instagram. So this is how it should look. And we'll break this down on the next call, how to build a pattern. Essentially, this is how it should look. I know exactly what number I'm hitting, why I'm hitting it, what am I going to do on a weekly and monthly basis, what does that look like in my schedule, and then what are my top 10 goals every single week. And you'll see that on the next video that records and comes out. But the goal is that we don't rise to the level of our goals. We fall to the standard of our systems. So when we talk about strategy this year, you have to have it dialed down to your daily schedule, and then you'll hit your target or even more. All right, the last principle, number 7, this year, I highly recommend that you adopt the Kobe Bryant mentality and commit one time. Go build your business plan, create your vision board, have your schedule in place. And then while you're the most excited and the most dialed in right now, do exactly what Kobe Bryant did. Before every season, he would write a letter to himself and he would make the decision one time. And then he would sign his name and then he would never make the decision again. There are so many realtors that I work with that are constantly having to renegotiate with themselves. But you already made the decision. So learn to not have to make it again. Follow through and be someone that does what they said they would do. So print something similar off like this. It's in my workbook. If you already commented 2026 planning workbook and you shot me a DM on Instagram and you have this packet, it's towards the end. Fill in the blanks right here. Go get an accountability partner and then sign it. Both of you. You have to learn to be accountable to someone else other than yourself. If you can do that, then not only are you accountable to your goals, but you have someone else that is helping you as well. Now, if you apply all 7 of these, I guarantee that your business will completely blow up this year. You're going to take theory, what you've tried maybe to do in the past, and you'll actually succeed by implementation, by following these 7 principles. All these people that I've worked with, and my career as well, has completely grown and blown up because of what was taught today. If you need any of these workbooks, reach out to me. The goal over this first quarter in 2026 is to do 12 episodes just like this. We're going to break down business planning. We're going to break down working with FSBO and expireds and open houses and door knocking and database outreach and cold calling. And we're going to break all of it down so that you have exactly what you need in order to blow up. Now, if you watch this and you're like, holy smokes, I've never got this much training before, then come work with me on the brokerage team. I run a nationwide brokerage at Real Broker. All this type of coaching is completely free. I have a leadership group. I have a bi-weekly social media mastermind where Jess in St. George, Utah runs that. I run it. Israel, who made 100K in 90 days, runs an investor group in Arizona, and he trains on how to work with investors. We have a book club. I pay for a quarterly mastermind for you to fly into Utah. Everything is on my dime so that I can help you grow. If you don't want to do that, then get into coaching. I can help you one-on-one. I can help you in our role play groups, or just get into our free Tuesday call. Hopefully today's episode was super helpful. You've got to know what principles do I need to focus on in order to grow this year. If you apply these 7 principles, your business, I guarantee you, will completely blow up. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time when we go and build out your 2026 business plan.